Hello everybody, Dawn here with Wreath Decor by Dawn, and I am making a video today that is part of the YouTube Success for Makers collaboration with hardworking moms Lori Jacobs and some of the members of her YouTube Success in Six group. It's a course that she has to help you grow your YouTube channel. And we all took the course and we've all come together to put together this collaboration of all of our videos to show you all what we do and how different everybody's crafts are. So enjoy the day. It goes on for the course of 4 days, but today there's a long list of people who are doing it. And coming up after me will be Robin's Wreathery and Robin's Yorkie Nest. That's one page. And it's on YouTube. She will be making a patriotic gnome for you. And Robin makes her own signs and her own gnomes, and she'll be doing that for you after mine. So please enjoy the rest of the day, and at the very end I will put up a list of people who are going to be on after me. So I'm going to put my camera down and show you what I'm making today. So hold on one second. All right. Let me lift you up just a little bit so you can see my workstation here. All right, so I'm going to be making a wreath, and I am using a sign that says, "May your day be full of blessings." And it's got this really nice wicker basket or basket weave pattern on the border. Then some pink roses, and of course then the little saying there. And I will put in my description where all of my products came from, and links to any of them that I can put up for you. So here is my wreath frame. I'm using a 14-inch wreath frame from the dollar store. I put my own ties on here. I have 10 ties on the bottom, 8 ties on the top, and I spaced mine out about 4.5 inches, 4 inches, just depends. And I do have a video on my YouTube channel that shows you exactly how I put this together. It's a real quick video that I made just to show, because I get a lot of questions about how I make these frames. So we're going to be using this really pretty apple green metallic 21-inch mesh for our base. I'm going to do 12-inch poofs. And then after the poofs, I'm going to be adding in some curl bundles that I've made up some. I'll show you how I make these. I've got the apple green, the yellow, and the pink. All these colors are in my sign. So we'll be adding these into every tie. And then for my ribbons, I have some very pretty, colorful ribbons. I'm going to be using this pink, green, and yellow stripe with the yellow with the pink roses on it, which goes perfectly with that sign. Then we have this pink with the white pearls. And then we have this white with the yellow border and the butterflies. And we're going to add in some butterflies and possibly some roses with our wreath as well. And then I have a bow that I made for it. So we'll put that all in. Here is the bow. I have not finished fluffing it out and cutting the tails yet, but we'll do that when we get to that part there. And then here's the pink roses. I wish I had some brighter pink to go with the sign, but I do not have any, and it's kind of hard to get any right now with everything being closed. So for now, those will do, and I can always change them out later. And then I have a yellow and a green butterfly that I think I'm going to put in there. I have a pink one as well, but I'm not sure if I'm going to use that one too. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on the poofs and show you how I do that. So I like to start on the top. I'm going to gather this up. This is a full 10-yard roll. And it's going to take about 3/4 of it with 12-inch poofs. So I gather this up, and I'm going to put it in my top tie here. And I'm going to give this a couple of twists. And then I'm going to zip tie that end down just for secure, to make it more secure. So I'll zip tie this. These are just little 4-inch zip ties you can pick up at the hardware store. Walmart carries them. Even the dollar store has them. And I need to use my pliers so that I can get a nice tight grip on there. All right. So I don't need this much excess on here, so we'll cut off some of this. All right, now I'm going to do my 12-inch poofs, and I do like to measure mine. Some people don't. They just kind of go with it. After they've been doing it for a while, it's kind of easy for them to do without having to measure, but I like to measure them. So again, I'm doing 12-inch poofs. I really like that 12-inch fullness. You want to make sure to keep your sides tucked under. And then fluff this out. And that makes for a nice little poof there. So I will go ahead and do the rest of these. My mesh is sticking to itself, so I need to scoot that over just a little bit. Some people like to throw it on the floor, but I have carpet, so it's not as easy to throw it on the floor to do. But if you have a mat or something down in a wood floor, then you could probably just toss it on the floor and do it that way. But mine tends to snag, and then it snags on the edge of my desk. So we just leave it in the mesh roller. Looks like I missed a tie here. How did I miss that? All right, this is the last one on the top here, and we're going to put one more poof in where we started, and then we will transition down to the bottom row and do the same thing down there. So I'm taking this and I'm doing my 12-inch poof, and then right here where I started, I'm going to untie it. And I'm going to put this right in here, and then that gives me my final poof for the top. And then I started in a twist tie right above the one, another one, so I can pull this straight down. So here's the tie I want to use right here. Excuse me. The tie I want to use right here. And I'm going to pull it straight down in front of that tie. I'm not going into the tie, I'm going right next to it. I'm going to zip tie my mesh to that frame right before that. And I do that so that I can get a nice clean start on the bottom. So I'm just going to give it a little tug, snip that off, and then we're going to skip this first tie and we're going to go to the next one. And the reason I skipped that first one is because when I come back around, that's where I'm going to end. And you don't want to have two poofs in one tie. So again, I'm going to measure out my 12, put my poof in here, twist that off. I really love this apple green color. It's so pretty, especially with the metallic one. It's one of my favorite colors of mesh to work with. And I would really love it if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel while you're here watching. I would really appreciate that. I am building my channel as well. And I do post in my YouTube about once a week. I do Facebook Lives once a week, and I post them over here on YouTube as well. So please check out my channel. Remember to subscribe, hit that bell icon to get notified when I post new material or when I go live. You can also sign up for my weekly alert email that I send out to everyone, letting them know when I'm going to be live on my Facebook channel as well. And all those links are going to be in the description for you. So please check that out. I would love to have you subscribe to my channel. And please follow all the other designers that are going to be going today as well, and subscribe to their channels. Alright, that one got a little twisted up. Let's undo that and redo it. Take that out, and let's try and get these tails or sides underneath the way they're supposed to be. That's better. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and do one last poof in the bottom. So we're back here where we started. So I have my 2 ties right here. So there's our zip tie where I started. I'm going to go ahead and measure out my 12-inch poof. We're going to put that right inside that tie. And that's going to be our last poof. Get that nice and tight. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the rest of this and I'm going to cut this off. A couple of inches is all you need. Cut that off. And I'm going to take it and tuck it in. I'm going to flip over my frame and I'm going to zip tie this right here to the frame. And that's just what I like to do. That doesn't mean you have to do it. Everything I do is just what I like to do and to give you suggestions. So you do what works best for you. Well, if I can get my fingers to cooperate with me, we'll be good. There we go. All right, so I'm just zip tying this down to the frame. That's going to keep that, for me, it keeps it nice and secure. All right, we'll cut that off and I will twist that around so it's not sticking out. I don't want anybody to get scratched by anything or for it to scratch anyone's door or anything like that. So I always tuck my stuff in and make sure that nobody can get stuck by it or scratch their door or anything like that. So, all right, this poof I didn't pull out, so let's do that real quick. All right, so there's our base. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? That mesh is gorgeous. Nice full 12-inch poofs. This 14-inch frame is now about 22 inches now. Between 22 and 23 inches. So it really gives you a nice full wreath and base to work with. All right, so I'm going to show you how I do my curls really quick, and then I have the rest of them already done, pre-made. So I have problems with my hands, so I have to use this little dowel. So I'm just making curls. These are all cut at 10 inches. It's 10-inch mesh cut at 10 inches. And I'm going to take my dowel and we're doing the curls. So we need to roll them. And this just helps it go a little faster. And I like the way that the curls come out. If I do them by hand, they tend to look a little sloppier. So the dowel really helps me to get them a nice curl on them. The dowel is a 12-inch dowel. It's 12 inches long by 3/4 of an inch thick. And they come in a pack of 3 in the craft section at Walmart is where I got mine. So I have just some little chip clips that I'm using here that I got at the dollar store. You could use clothespins, little clamps, anything you have, whatever you can find that holds them, curled for you until you get all your curls done. So I have the pink, the green, and the yellow. So I'm putting them on top of each other. And then I have a half of a pipe cleaner that I'm going to put in the center. And we're going to tie that off. Now when you pull these curls, you want to get a nice, tight curl because you want them to stand up really nice for you in your wreath. So I want to pull as tight as I can in the center and get that pipe cleaner really tight on there. I'm going to twist it off a couple of times, cut off the excess, and then I fold over that pipe cleaner so it doesn't stick anybody. And you'll have some frays, but the curls usually will tuck all that in. So you just kind of give it a little haircut. But see how nice those sit up? And then you're just going to take and put those into your ties. So you want to open this up just a tad and put these in here. You've got plenty of pipe cleaner to use for your ties and your curls. And our ribbon tails. And then I'm just going to spread these out a little bit. Do them the opposite direction of each other on either side. So then you have these nice curls filling that in. And your ribbons will go in on top of that. Alright, so I've already done the rest of mine, so I'll go ahead and just pull mine out over here. And I will start filling them in. All right, this is the last one on the bottom. Put this one in. And I'm spreading these out just so I can make sure that you can see all the colors. Since we do have 3, that green kind of gets lost in the green of the base, but that's okay. Let's do it the other way here. Trying to make sure that I spread them out. Clip off any loose pieces that you see. I'll go back and do that at the end as well, before I take pictures, before I sell it. You know, it all gets cut so that it doesn't look frayed. But mesh frays, there's nothing you can do about it. It's going to fray no matter what you do, how you cut it. All right, so now we're going to start at the top, and we're just going to continue to fill these in. Okay, we've got one more to go. Aren't these colors beautiful? I love these spring colors. I'm going to put this last one in. Fluff up these curls. Kind of spread them out a little bit. There we go. All right, now we can put our ribbons on. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Doesn't that look like a little spring flowers? What, you know, the kind of what you would see out in the garden maybe. Very colorful and pretty. I like it. Very springy. All right, let's do our ribbon tails. And again, I'll show you the tails that I have here. All right, so we're going to do this pink, green, and yellow. This is a 1.5. We have a 2.5 yellow with pink roses. We have the pink with the white pearls. And then we have a white with the yellow border and butterflies. So we're just gonna set these over here, and I've got the pink pearls going with the butterflies. My ribbons are cut at 14 inches. Again, all of these instructions and sizes and links will be in my description. So I cut my tails at 14 inches. That's what I like because I do a 12-inch poof. Typically, you want your tails to be about 2 inches bigger than your poof. So I take them and fluff them up, give them a little lift. We call them birds, bird wings, or call this a bird. And then I give mine a little V in it to come towards me, and that helps to put them in the ties and to get them going in the right direction. I like them to point out. So I'm going to tie that in there. And then I'm going to spread these out. I'm going to give them a yank. You want to make them go where you want them. Give them a little lift. You don't want them laying flat. And I alternate on this side. I do the opposite. The pink is going up over here and down over here. There. There we go. So we got them going out. See that? And then we're just going to continue on alternating the two colors. So the roses will go with the pink, yellow, and green stripe. And these are all good quality ribbons. Wired, of course. You always want to use wired. Give them some lift. And then give them a tug in the center. Let me find my tie. There we go. And again, these are all just suggestions on how I do them. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Whatever is comfortable for you, that's what you do. Just because I do something this way doesn't mean that you have to. Alright, so I have a wire coming out. I'm just going to, if you can, push it back in. If not, then just snip it off. It's coming too far out. I will just snip off the very end of it. This butterfly ribbon is gorgeous. Did you find his bottle stuff? Did you already did it? All right, just making sure. Okay, I'm putting in my last ribbon on the bottom. We'll move up to the top. Okay. We're going to make sure that we start an opposite ribbon on the top part. And what I mean by that is you want to make sure that you don't have two of the same ribbons above each other, which that is that one. So we're going to move over to this one and make sure it's the opposite. Some ribbons will end up next to each other, and that's okay. It happens. All right, last one. I'm going to put this one in there, and then we can put our sign and our bow on. Spread these out. There we go. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at that. All right. So we got those all going there. Look at that. Doesn't that just scream springtime? All right. We're going to take our sign, and I use floral wire. Silver floral wire works best. Silver floral wire works best. I'm going to take my sticker and put that on the back. The sign maker already has her sticker on there. I'm going to put mine right above it. And then I'm going to take 4 lengths of wire, enough to get it through my mesh. And silver wire you use because it hides best. Now when I buy my signs, they don't come with holes in them, so I have to put holes in them to put my wires through. And for that I use what's called a beadsmith. All it is a metal hole punch. You can buy it at the craft store. It's usually in the jewelry section. You can also get them on Amazon, and I will post a link in the description of all these tools, but this is what the beadsmith looks like. And you can see it's just got a little metal hole punch on the end there. So we're going to put a hole in each corner. And I do it from the top. Doesn't have to be too far away from the edge. Just enough. It's going to put these little micro holes in there for you to put your wires through. And with using silver wire, you're not going to see that on the wreath. So there's the holes. Make sure I pick up these little pieces. There we go. All right, so then I'm going to take my wire and run it through here. Give it a little twist. I twist the sign, not the wire, because the wire will break if you're not careful. It is 26 gauge, but still, you never know. Wires tend to break all the time. Cut the excess off, and we'll do the next one. As long as you have a nice little twist on there, you can cut off the excess. And I don't normally take my sign out out of the bag until I'm ready to use it, because I don't want it to get scratched up or anything. So that's why I tend to not prepare them ahead of time, because you got more of a chance they're going to get scratched or dented, because this is just thin metal. And the link for the sign will be in the description as well as the materials I'm using. Ribbons, mesh. I will post where I got those in the description. Alright, let's put our sign up here and our bow and see which way we want to do it. Do we want to do it off to the side? Move it closer here. So I can either put the bow on this side and the sign on this side. We can put the bow on the bottom and the sign at the top. Or we could do a little catty corner. I think I'm going to do that. So let me put my sign on first. So what I need to do in order to put my sign on, since we're not putting anything else in these ties, I'm going to go ahead and clip them off. I give them a couple extra twists, then I clip it off, and then fold down that extra piece. And if this is where your sign is going, you want to make sure that you've got those ribbons pointed out so that they're out from under your sign and not tucked up underneath hiding. Nobody's going to see them if they're up underneath there. Alright, so I will go ahead and do these on the bottom as well. Now you could add tubing if you wanted to. You could have any other decorative little elements that you wanted to put in here. You could add those. But if you needed the tie for any of them, you want to wait to cut those ties. Like if I were putting tubing in here, I would need to wait to cut these. But surprisingly enough, I am not putting tubing in this one. I really like tubing, and I usually put it in a lot of my wreaths, but not this one. Alright, so this is where my sign's going to go. We're going to put it right here, going a little catty corner. Let me get all my curls underneath them situated. So we want your sign to sit right up on top. You don't want to pull it down too tight because you don't want to smash the mesh. So I have this weaving needle, yarn needle that you can get at the craft store as well. It's over in the yarn section. It's just a big sewing needle. Mine is metal, they come in plastic. And I'm just going to use this to help me get my wires through my mesh. It just goes a little bit quicker when you can poke that down in there and not have to fiddle with those wires and get them through there. So I'm not going to tighten that until I get another wire on, because I want to make sure I don't pull too tight. So I will do the opposite corner. If I can get this through the needle. And I will go right down here next to the tie. And what I'm doing is I'm pulling that through to the frame so that I can tie this to the frame. I don't want to tie it off through the mesh, because if it's in the mesh, then it's not going to stay. It's not going to be as secure. You want to hit that frame and make sure that you tie off to the frame. And don't pull too tight because we don't want to smash our mesh. So I'm just giving it a couple quick twists just to keep it in place. Give it a little tug just to make sure it's pulled down enough, but not enough that it smashes that mesh. And then once you're all done, you can go back and tighten everything up and secure those wires in the back to your frame. All right, so that looks good there. It's snug, it's not tight. So I don't have to worry about it slipping when I go to take a picture of it or hang it on a door. It's not gonna slip down, slide down on my wreath. And that's what you wanna make sure doesn't happen. And I go right through the mesh. I'm not moving the mesh out of the way. I'm going right through all the poofs. And I'm wrapping that wire around the rings of the frame. All right, one last one. And my wires are cut really long. It's okay. We'll snip off any excess on the back. Let's see, for this one, I'm going to go right on the other side of this yellow curl. There we go. Those needles come in really handy for putting on signs. So if you have trouble putting them on, go look for those needles. Again, they're called yarn or weaving needles, whichever. They go by several names. They come in plastic and metal. Some are longer than others. Mine is about 5.5 inches long, 5 inches long. All right. So I can see this one could probably stand to come a little tighter. So I'll find that wire and just give it a untwist once or twice, and then I'll pull it a little tighter. That's why I only pull them down a little bit. That way if I have to undo them, I can undo them pretty quick. There we go. Don't want to get it too tight. All right, so there we go. There's that. So remember, we want that sign to be a little crooked. So I'm going to leave it like that, but then I'm going to put my bow right here. So this is going to be covered up so I can get rid of this. Alright, so that's where the bow's going to go. And again, on the back of the bow, I use zip ties to put my bows together. So I want to pull that nice and tight, make sure that's got a nice tight lock on it. Cut off the zip tie. And then I already have the wires put through. So I just stuck a piece of the floral wire up underneath the zip tie. So let's get all my tails going the right direction. Make sure they're all there, not sticking out. There we go. And we're going to put this bow right here. Yep. All right, so I might not have done my wires long enough for this, but that's okay. We can always add to it. We'll see. So again, I'm putting those wires through my needle, and then I'm going to pull my needle, not where this tie is here, but right next to it, where the mesh is. I want to go in here. That's where my bow's going to go. And if I don't like where it's at, I can always change it. Let's see, I wanted that to be a little crooked, so I probably need to move that over a little bit. But I could put the roses here, so that would give me my triangle. You want to try and do a triangle when you're putting your stuff on. Just makes it look more appealing. All right, so we'll go ahead and put this here for now. And again, don't pull too tight. You don't want your bow to look sunken in the middle. And I'm gonna flip this over so I can see where my wire is. I always tend to put these bows so close to where my zip ties are that I started my wreath with, and I can't get my fingers through there. All right, let's see. There's that one, and there's the other one. All right, so let me flip it back over so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so there's our bow. Now, when I pull on this, I want you to see what I'm talking about, pulling too tight. Get all these loops out. Make sure nothing's stuck, because that helps. So now see, when I give it a little tug, it makes it secure. If I tug too hard, see how it sinks in the middle? Don't pull it too tight. It won't look right. Your bow won't sit right if you pull too tight. So you just want it snug enough that it's going to stay in place and not move when you set the wreath on a door, because once it's sitting up, that's when things tend to move. So we will fix that in a moment. Let me go ahead and get this secured on the back. And if it's too tight, you can always undo it. If it's not tight enough, make it tighter. All right, there we go. So now we can pull these loops out. Don't have to worry about the bow slipping, coming undone. And I will snip off this center piece from my bow right here, because I don't want that sticking out. Get rid of this. There we go. That's the end of the center loop I made there. All right, so there's that. Now the tails, you can take and just cut the dovetails in those. And then you can roll some of them up. You can give them curls. Some of them I like to take my dowel that I used for my doing my mesh curls, and you can put a little curl. See that? Put a little curl in it. I do that with the 1.5 inch. I don't do that so much with the 2.5. But the 1.5, it looks good. And you can do it in different directions. Just kind of give it a little character, a little life. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and dovetail these. When you dovetail them, you just want to cut that little V into them at the end. So just do that with all of your ribbon or ribbon tails. It doesn't have to be all the same length or anything. It looks better when they're not all the same. Just random cuts, random lengths. Don't want to make that V too deep either, because then it will make your ends curl. So you just want to give it a slight V at the end. Let's see, this one's not done. I don't know why I throw my scissors down after I cut each one. All right, one more. There we go. And then you can fluff your bow more, of course, before you take pictures and post it or hang it. And this wreath will be available in my Etsy store, and I will post the link for that as well in the description. All right, we'll get all this mess pushed out of the way here. And now we've got these little flowers. Like I said, these are pink roses, but I wish they were a little bit brighter pink. This is more of a light pastel pink. But you know what? We're going to use them anyway. I can always change them out later. if I don't like them. So I would take these and put them down here. Might have to cut my ends a little more. So maybe do a grouping of 3 right here. You want to push your greenery up to your flower. Yeah, I like this right here with the 3. Well, that one's kind of, this one's a little bigger than the other ones. I probably should find one that's a little bit, this one probably would have been better. Let's switch them out. All you got to do to switch them out is pop the head off of this one, just pull it right off, and then take the other one and pop it on. Which one was I going to use? This one. So we'll pop the head off of that one, put it on this one, because we already cut this piece, and then we'll push up our greenery, and we'll put the head of this one back on here so that we can use that for something else later. So there we go. We've got our, and I will glue these in once I cut all of my ties down. Just put some hot glue on there. I use Gorilla Glue. All right, so we'll take this and give it a curl again. Do this side. There we go. And there's our wreath. And I will post a picture of this so that it can be seen once I cut off the ties and everything. All right. So there you go. That is our spring blessing wreath. Let me put my camera back down. Hold on. Thank you so much. I want to thank you all for watching me today again. My name is Dawn, and I'm with Wreath Decor by Dawn. If you've never watched my channel before, please subscribe and hit that bell icon so you can be notified whenever I go live. Also, I wanted to say, don't forget to go over and watch Robin from Robin's Wreathery and Robin's Yorkie Nest. She's going to be making a patriotic gnome wreath. She makes her own signs and her own gnomes. So check that out. She's part of the collaboration as well. And I hope you enjoyed this day and the last couple of days. This is a 4-day event. So please check out all of the other crafters. We'd really appreciate it. I want to thank you for your time. Have a great weekend.